How are you tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Awesome. Doing awesome. It's gotten really cold here, so I'm not loving that part, but you know, hoping for snow.
Yes. It really
Well,
snowed a little bit today here.
yeah.
Yes.
We had snow my birthday, that's it so far. I'm really hoping for a white Christmas, but I don't think I'm gonna not living where I live.
That's amazing.
Well, welcome back
Everybody.
everybody to Find Your Whys. I'm Yvonne. I'm a financial life coach and your co-host. I'm also a self-proclaimed goal-setting geek, and I love a good deadline because for some odd reason, I work really well under pressure. I
And
know it's weird.
hello. Yes, hello. My name is Indira Mosquea. I'm a leadership coach and I'm also your co-host who also work under pressure and love planning. And I can tell you that today we're talking about a topic that is really going to bring us excitement, but also a little of anxiety. Tonight we're talking about goal setting.
Yes, goal setting. It's the thing that we love to do in January, but conveniently forget by February.
Yep.
I'm guilty. I'm so guilty too. But we're not just going to be talking about setting goals today. We're actually going to talk about how to achieve them. We're going to break them down and understand why so many people struggle to reach the finish line.
Yes, because the thing is that the goals are like GPS for our life.
Yes.
Without them, we're just driving around hoping that we get to someplace. But with the goals, we can get to a destination and also we can have a plan and to help us to get there. Because as Lewis Carroll said, if you don't know where you're going, any road you take, you will be there. You think you'll be there. So stick around because this is going to be a great episode. I hope you enjoy it.
It is. It is. But instead of jumping right into making resolutions and things like that, I want everybody to start with a question. I want you to ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be next year?
Wow, that's profound. And the
Yeah.
good thing is that it's less about what you want and more about who you want to become.
Exactly. I think it's a fantastic place to start when you're thinking about setting up new goals and habits. So once you have that vision of who it is that you want to be in the coming year, then ask what is one small habit that I can start to become that person?
And Yvonne, you said one of the magic words habits. Habits are key. For
Yes.
example, if we wanted to grow financially, one good thing that we can do is commit on reviewing our budget on a regular basis. Because understanding who you want to become can guide you in setting your goals, but also you can check if your habits that you are putting in place it really resonate and help you to become that person.
Yep, totally agree. So, okay, now let's start talking about these goals. After all, that's what we're doing. All right, well, let's start by addressing the elephant in the room. Why do you think it is that so many people struggle to get to the end of their goals?
I think since we're coaches, is something that we see on a regular basis.
Yep.
One of the main things, in my perspective, is about fears. It could be fear of failure, fear of success, fear of rejection. Those are the type of things that hold us back and doesn't allow us to really overcome those things. And another thing is also, like I just mentioned before, is those habits because we put the goals, but we don't work on our daily habits to be able to achieve those goals. Because in reality, that's like we're driving a car, but we have the car, well, we're pressing our brakes. So it's hard to get somewhere like that. So the habits are the one that stuck us there.
I like that. I really do. I think another reason why people struggle to reach the end of their goal or to reach their destination, I guess you could say, is lack of knowledge. Sometimes we set goals and we don't understand what it's going to take, the skills, the resources, things like that to actually achieve the goal. And honestly, that's something that we did with launching this podcast. We actually had no idea what to do, but we decided to start it anyways. So it has been a really big learning process for us. But if you are willing to learn along the way, sometimes you do just need to start.
Yes. Let me tell you that when I was doing this podcast, I was thinking of my process when I was moving to Canada, and when I set that goal, and in terms of knowledge, one growth goal that I had to accomplish was to learn French because
Yeah.
that was part of the process. So just by learning that skill, which with among other things that I had to do, it also helped me accomplish that goal. So it's about preparing yourself for all the challenges ahead that you're going to be facing.
So you actually have to know French to live in Canada.
Because I was applying for Quebec. And in
Oh,
Quebec, one of the prerequisite is that you need to speak the language if you wanted to have the skill points to allow you to continue the process. So I
that's
had to,
fascinating.
yes, I
That's
love
really
languages.
cool.
That's why it was good because imagine if I don't, it would be a turtle.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So another reason that I think people struggle is overwhelm. I mean, I do that to myself a lot too. They set too many goals or they make them so big that they feel impossible.
Yeah.
So there's a book that you told me about that we were talking about recently. It's that the 12-week year. And it talks about instead of setting annual goals that you just focus on 12 weeks at a time instead. So in that aspect that it creates a sense of urgency and it keeps you from procrastinating, which is something I'm really
Yes.
really guilty of.
Yes. I heard about that book in one of the Maxwell training
Mhm.
sessions, and I really started digging into that because I really love the approach. Like you said, instead of focusing about the whole cake, it's like you biting in small pieces, and that help you to overcome the step.
I like
One
that.
another thing that I think it's important to mention that also hold us back when we're trying to achieve goals is accountability.
Mhm.
Because if we don't have someone or a system that we can track our progress, it is so easy. So we let the goal slide,
It
really.
really is because, who will know if we don't do it? I
Yeah,
love that.
that's
Well,
true.
let's dive into that thought for a second. The 12-week year. What stood I know you said that you've looked into it and read it and stuff. So what stands out to you about the method?
One of the biggest takeaway that I had is that instead of to see the whole year, it was like a 12-week period. So you
Mhm.
divided the year in 12-week periods and you take that period like a whole year. So instead of you having, and that will help you to focus on specific goals and specific actions that you have to accomplish in that small period of time. So like you mentioned, it creates a sense of urgency,
Okay.
and because instead of looking the whole year, and we always see that we have enough time to do it, and then we try to rush at the end, and then we cross it up and say we move it to next year. In this case, you have a shorter period of time, so it creates more intensity as well.
I like that. So you said the book also emphasizes the importance of weekly accountability meetings, whether it's with a coach, a team, or even with yourself. But those meetings will really keep you focused and allow you to adjust your actions if you think you're falling behind. And it's funny because that's how we met as accountability partners.
Yes.
That's what we are now. Mm.
Yes, that's amazing. Yeah, because it talks about one of the core strategy of the book is about time blocking, and
Okay.
it's like you schedule that time and it's non-negotiable, and that time
Mm.
helps you to focus on working on your goals. So you prioritize your time and you make it visible on your calendar. And we both know that when you have account someone that you have to be accountable, you really, if you even if you haven't achieved it today, if your meeting is coming, you're going to rush to make sure that you accomplish that. So that's why it's very important.
It's exactly true. I know that when you and Temi and I were all in our accountability
Yes.
group, like how we met, and it would be funny because for myself, I turned it into a challenge. It's like I would tell you guys that I had this goal that I wanted to reach, and I wanted to reach it by a certain amount of time, and then I would challenge myself to get it done faster, so I could come back to the accountability meeting and go, "Hey, look what I did."
Yes, and also we learned from each other. That it was
We
fantastic.
did.
Yeah.
We did. Well, something I do know when it comes to goals is that most people really focus on the outcome. They're like, okay, I want to lose weight. I want to lose 10 pounds, or I need to earn this promotion. And they solely focus on the end game. And it's really easy to get frustrated when it's not happening like you think it should. But the book talks about tracking your actions that lead to the outcomes, like, enjoying the journey along the way to the destination.
Yes, and that's one of the mindset shift that I like about the book, because you're focusing on the things that you can control. You set your goal, fine,
Important.
but you're focusing on the things that you can do. So it's like you have your goal, but you're in your present. because you let the results will flow based on the activities that you put in place. And
Yeah.
also, it talks a lot about the power of reflection,
Okay.
because at the end of the 12-week period, you have to review what worked, what didn't work, and what can you improve to implement for the next cycle. So it's you're constantly reflecting and learning
I
from
may
that.
need to get this book.
Yeah.
I like the thought about this because I know we had just briefly talked about it, but the more that we're getting into this, I really like this concept. So basically, it's just saying, to stay adaptable and focused so that you're not like going through all the motions of trying to reach a goal. And then by December, you realize you're off track. So in this case, instead, it would be like every 12 weeks, you get a fresh
Yep.
start. So if you're starting to go off track, it's a much quicker time that you can stop yourself from,
Correct.
really going forward. All right.
Yep.
Well, let's give our listeners some really actionable tips so that they can go ahead and crush those goals in 2025. So, the first tip that I would really like to give to everybody is to write your goals down. Now, there are some studies that have shown that if you write your goals down, you are 42% more likely to achieve them. That is
That's
huge.
huge.
It is really huge. So when you write them down, what it does, it kind of just gets it out of your head and it makes it more real to you when you're actually looking at this. So I
Yeah.
love that idea. And then, of course, we can share them with somebody.
Yes.
Those
And
accountability partners.
that really makes a difference. Yeah.
Mhm.
Another one that we can do is like I was mentioned before, we can pair our goal with one growth goal,
Okay.
one or as many as needed. Because, for example, your goal is here, but you're here. In order to
Mm,
accomplish that, you need to close that gap. And that happened
okay.
in order to do that, you need to grow. So that's why you need to understand
Yep.
what growth goal can take you there. Because if you already knew how to do it, you already be there.
Good
So
point.
we,
Good
so
point.
we need to ask ourselves what skills and knowledge it is required for me to achieve this. But also, one of the things like you mentioned at the beginning that I really like, that it's not about what I wanted to do, but who I want to become. So
Yeah.
who I need to become to make this happen. So I think that concept resonate a lot with that comment that you did at the start of the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
Next, and we kind of mentioned this earlier, is to track your progress often and regularly. Like I had said, also, enjoy the journey. This doesn't have to be a heavy chore that is something you're not liking. Enjoy the journey. Use a planner, an app, a whiteboard, something, whatever works for you. But just make sure that you're consistently reviewing and then adjusting your actions because you might get partway through it and realize the way I'm doing it isn't working. And then you can find a new way before you're completely flustered and decide to give up.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one because, like we've been mentioned before, even from the last episode, it is very important that the fact that we enjoy our journey in the
Yeah.
process. One thing that uh, I regularly do, and this year did a small change, is having a vision board.
I
But
love
this
vision
year,
boards.
I added a vision manifesto that it was one training that I had from Valerie Burton.
Yes, I did
And
that too. It's so much
oh,
fun.
yeah, oh my gosh! And I read it on a regular basis. So you have your vision board that you can stand, you can see it, the things that you wanted to accomplish. But in the vision manifesto, you're talking about the person that you will become.
Yes.
So, for example, I'm worthy. You talk in the present because I'm healthy, I'm blessed. Those type of things that you tell to yourself, those are like affirmations could be that you can also include in that. Is a fantastic thing.
Yeah.
Another thing is it's good that we start small.
Oh, yeah.
Just choose one habit that you're going to focus in January and you stick to the habit and make changes. You can start seeing changes in progress, and that will lead you to another habit. And like we said, don't forget about checking a monthly basis. It is so important that you check on your progress because that's the thing that is going to help you to understand what you need to adjust to continue your way.
Hmm. I like using the method. It's called SMART goals.
Oh, good.
And it means a specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So I actually did a goal setting session in one of my private Facebook groups, and I'll actually be doing one again here pretty soon. So if anyone wants to listen, feel free to join the group, Wallets and Wellbeing. It's a Facebook group.
Cool.
And I break it down really specifically like this as a SMART goal because it's so much easier to follow.
That's true.
Another thing that I really like, and it is if you're going to develop a habit to reach your goal, automate them when you can. Like whether you're going to be saving money, you can have
Yep.
some money automatically taken out of each paycheck to put directly into savings. Or, if you're really wanting to start to work out and get in shape, set an alarm to remind yourself, get off the couch. It's time to go. And it makes it really easier on you to plan and reach your goals and then, stick to that action. But and we've emphasized this not even in just this podcast or this episode, but to celebrate your wins. People forget to do that.
Yeah.
And it really takes the drudgery out of what can feel like a chore when you're trying to reach a goal. Progress is progress, no matter how small it is. And it just really helps you enjoy the journey. Like we've said 1,000 times in this episode, that's how important it is. You actually really need to celebrate it every step along the way.
That is true. I love the fact that you said, for example, automate healthy habits. In order for me to force myself to go to the gym, because I enjoy other type of sports, but going to the gym, I kind of still not really connected with that. I register myself in the gym that is right at the place that I take my kids to take water polo or swimming. So I'm already there. So if I'm there, I need to do it. So those are the type of things that when we say also automated, it's to make it easy for you to be able to accomplish those things.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Love
And like
it.
we mentioned, please remember, because like you mentioned, the journey to your goal isn't about perfection. It's about progress. And we're going to
Yeah.
continue insisting on that because also we're guilty of that, and being able to work in terms of progress is helping us to see the changes in our life. As Brian Moran said, greatness in the moment is simply greatness repeatedly. So
Mhm.
the only way that we're going to be great is if we continue doing a step and improving every step of the way. So I think 2025 is a great year that we can start putting those things in practice to help us to continue growing the process.
Exactly. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Find Your Wise podcast. And we really hope that you're feeling inspired and ready to reach some of your amazing goals that you're setting for yourself.
Yes, that would be fantastic if you can share at least one takeaway that you have from this episode that you would like to implement. You can hashtag Find Your Wise podcast or join
Mhm.
our Facebook group when we have more information that we share on a regular basis. Please, we really thank you for spending the time with us. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this episode with someone that you think can make an impact on their life.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see you next week, same time, same place. Until then, keep striving and thriving.
Perfect. Bye for now.
Bye.